Hello, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to analyze Roger Federer's forehand, and specifically the contact point. I'm going to show you what you can copy in order to improve your forehand. Now, this video is courtesy of Essential Tennis, so make sure you subscribe to their awesome channel. I've put their link in the description below. Now, like most pros, Roger Federer has slight differences from forehand to forehand, but when I saw this one, I was like, wow, I cannot wait to make a video on this. Look at this contact point. Oh my gosh, do I absolutely love this. So let's talk about a couple things you can copy. The first thing is I want you to notice the orientation of his body, that his chest and his hips are not facing directly toward the net, but that his hips and shoulders are actually facing slightly off to the right, his hips even more than his shoulders. If he had, let's say, a laser beam shooting out of his belly button, for instance, the laser beam would be shooting at the right net post. When you have, as a right-hander, your left shoulder in front of your right shoulder and your left hip in front of your right hip, a couple things occur that are in your best interest. First, it allows you to have an inside-out swing. This means that the racket actually swings away from the body as you're going to contact. That is going to help you hit pure topspin. When you're contacting and your chest is facing off to the left, if you're right-handed, and let's say like facing toward this person here or the crowd, typically that means you've over-rotated prior to contact. You're now swinging across your body where you're swinging from right to left. You're going to get a ton of side spin. It's going to make you inaccurate. So actually keeping your chest and your hips, if you're right-handed, to the right when you contact the ball is actually going to help you swing out towards your target and hit pure topspin. I do want to clarify something though. Notice that he is rotating. So here his body is facing us, his chest is facing us, his shoulders, everything is squared to the net. Squared to the camera. And then as he hits, he is rotating, but notice he's rotating, but at contact, he still has his belly button facing off to the right of his target. So go out and film yourself and see if you're doing this, and you add this to your forehand. Absolutely, it's going to make a world of difference. The next thing, the contact point itself, where he's hitting this ball. So if I take a line straight down the front of his body, you'll notice that that ball never reaches the yellow line. So he's contacting in front of his body. Now, why do you want to contact in front of your body? Well, let's take a circle, and we're going to draw a radius, or many radiuses, out from the very center, right? So the radius is from the center of the circle out to the circumference. Well, his arm is a radius. And if we take this line and we start drawing when his racket is going down, those yellow lines are representing his racket and his arm actually traveling slightly down. Now, the yellow line is when his hand is directly under his shoulder. So now his hand is going directly forward. And at this point, now his arm is going up. So here, his arm and racket are going down, and here, his arm and racket are going up. We want to contact out in front because that's when the racket is going up. In fact, if we just take this frame right here, if we look at where his racket is, I can draw the yellow line right at the bottom of that fence there. Notice his racket is above that yellow line. Now it goes down to that yellow line, and now it's coming back up above the yellow line again. So look at his racket. His racket's like going like this. So in the red moment, he's going down, and during the green moment, he's going up. We need to contact out in front of us because that's when we're going to actually be able to hit topspin. Topspin is a low to high swing, racket below contact, racket above contact, imparting the spin that we need in order to contact the ball with consistency and control. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, not only is he contacting out in front, but I want you to notice where his strings are pointing. His strings are pointing forward. Look, simply put, the ball goes where your strings point. So if your strings are facing up, the ball is going to go up. So you want your strings facing forward when you strike the ball. Now, you do watch some pros, because they're swinging low to high so much, they have a ton of racket speed. They can actually get away with not just having their racket straight up and down, but they can get away with having their racket face a few degrees closed, less than 10 degrees closed. So if you have a ton of racket speed, let me actually draw that correctly. If you have a ton of racket speed, you can actually get away with your racket face being ever so slightly closed as you're swinging low to high. That creates a bigger difference between where the strings are pointing pointing and where the racket's traveling, and it can actually help you impart more spin. But simply stated, you want your strings facing forward, facing toward your target. Now, that right there, understanding that the contact point has to be out in front with your strings facing forward when you contact, will make a world of difference, just understanding that concept in your consistency. The next idea, let's talk about his non-hitting hand. Oh, this is one of my absolute favorite tips. Not only is his non-hitting hand above contact, which is essential to playing with hip rotation, right? We want our body rotating as we're hitting the ball, and having the non-hitting hand above contact helps that. But it's in front of contact as well. Remember we were talking about the non-hitting shoulder and non-hitting hip being in front of the hitting shoulder and the hitting hip. Remember the belly button facing at the net post? This is related to that idea. We want to uncoil the body. Like here, you can see he's taking the racket back with both hands. Here he's reaching toward the camera. We can see his non-hitting hand reaching toward the camera. So he's unwinding, and that's helping everything to rotate. But he's making sure that he doesn't over-rotate. And you see a lot of players, they'll pull this arm in or they'll throw it back there. Again, this is one of those nuances. Sometimes the pros do different things on different forehands, but this forehand, I want you to copy to gain massive control. When he's contacting the ball, our eyes are not deceiving us. His hand, his non-hitting hand, is in front of contact and above contact. So film yourself and see if you can get this. See if you can get the non-hitting hand in front of contact and above contact. Man, is that going to allow you to swing out towards your target and not swing across your body, but actually track out for consistency. And the last thing I want you to notice is his head and how his head is pointing down. He's keeping his head so still as he's striking the ball. You can see his head pulling into contact, where here he's looking out at the ball, and then here his head comes in. Boy, does this look good, right? And then his chin is now on his shoulder because his shoulder has now come up underneath his chin. Absolutely love this look. Keep your head as still as you can. You know, I get sent videos all the time to my email, ryan@2minutetennis.net. Every day I get videos sent to me on people's forehands, backhand serves, and I'll check them out and I'll look at people's forehands. And 90% of the time, players are looking over the net at this point, right? So really focus on keeping your head super still, almost like you have a glass of water on your head. And through the magic of television, a glass of water appears on Roger Federer's head. How do you like that? So you want to have your head super still, and if there's a glass of water on your head, it does not spill. So go out and film yourself. See if you can keep your belly button facing to the right net post when you're right-handed at contact. See if you can contact out in front, because your racket and arm are going down behind you and going up in front of you. That's why we want to contact out in front. And if your strings face forward at that moment, you have got the topspin that you're looking for. One thing I didn't mention, I can't believe I didn't, is that produces the wrist angle that you see at contact. The contact out in front, but the strings facing forward, that produces the wrist angle that you want at contact. You can see that his non-hitting hand is in front of contact and that he is keeping his head super still. You work on these ideas on your forehand, and there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.